Hello everybody and welcome back to StarCraft Underground. We are nearing the end of our second paid tournament. This is the final three here facing off today for their spot as the number 2 contestant. We have earob in the bottom left as our red Protoss. And up here in the top right, Azhi as the blue Terran. That's right, the winner of this one is going to be advancing to the final two, the top two, where they're going to face off against none other than the grand champion from the first paid tournament, Wolfix, a Terran player. So it looks like we're going to be either looking at a TVT possibly, or a TVP, depending on how these matches go. Pretty exciting stuff though. Only 2 matches left in this second paid tournament. They're already starting more tournaments, so don't worry, before too long we will be getting into that. May even do a couple more requested casts before we get in there. We'll see how it goes. We don't have a whole lot of backed up requests at this time, so I may try to knock some of those out before we get into the next paid tournament. If you guys are interested at all in joining us in StarCraft Underground, we also do have a new feature. We call it School, StarCraft Underground League. It's team play rather than the one-on-one tournaments that you typically see that I cast for us for the paid tournaments. So if you're at all interested in doing some team play, definitely head on over to StarCraft Underground, find our Discord, link will be in the description, check it out. A lot of fun. Alright, let's go ahead and get into the match though. Looks like earob going to be going for the 12 Nexus here. Typical expansion here against a Terran player. Not quite as fast as putting on pressure as what you would see with a Zerg player. Azhi going to be opening up with the standard opening here. We'd like to see the factory come down next, more than likely. A second depot, I would expect, followed by a factory. Yep, there's the depot. Factory's going to be, let's see, a 230 factory against Protoss is really what we want to aim for here. And right on time. Get started right on 230. So Azhi looking pretty good right now. Build's looking pretty solid. $15-15 worker count. Nobody lacking any workers yet. This first match is going to be taking place on match point. If you have not seen this map yet, definitely check it out in one of my earlier videos. I'm not going to go through and highlight this map just because we're so far in the tournament now that I think probably anybody that's seen any of the videos has seen this map and knows. If you don't, though, you can feel free to check it out in one of the other videos. Normally I highlight them, but being that it's the last 2 matches of this tournament, I'm going to assume that anybody who's along for the journey probably has seen me overview the maps at this point. Looks like Azhi going to be scouting out with the SCV here. Here I'm trying to relieve some pressure. Going to be going to double gate with the cybernetics core. Meanwhile, we've got the second CC coming online here for Azhi at the natural. And it looks like Azhi is actually going to be the one to get any kind of army out on the battlefield first. We're going to have the Vulture hit definitely first. Here it comes onto the battlefield now. But by the time it even gets over here, these 2 Dragoons are going to be already done. So the Vulture not going to get really anything done at this point. More than anything, it should be able to just... Azhi will probably just park it right outside the main here. Oh, there's a Zealot here on the battlefield. I must have missed him. Hey there, little guy. So this Vulture really definitely not getting anything done here. And I'm probably going to park it up here and watch the 3rd expansion, or maybe even leave it up here on this ramp above. It looks like Azhi might go for a bit of a wall in here with some pylons. Don't see the forge down yet, though. A good little distraction right there from Azhi. Took some heat with the Scout SCV, pulled the Zealot and the Dragoon away, and was able to sneak the Vulture down here into the base. Not sure if it's going to get any probe kills here, but it's definitely going to take away from some mining time. Does get 1 kill, make that 2. Dragoon should clean it up here, but not before he gets another 3rd kill. Good little micro right there from Azhi. Able to distract the guys at the front gate, slipped the Vulture through, got 3 probe kills, and a little bit of mining time wasted. Make that a lot of mining time. A lot of those probes got pulled from the mineral line there, and we're not mining there for a good second. trying to take a little bit of the disadvantage away from the 12 Nexus opening, which gives Protoss a little bit of an early eco boost over the Terran. The SCVs are just so bad at mining when they start out. Decent-sized army right here from earob so far, up against just 2 Marines right now. That is not looking good. And I'm not sure how Azhi's going to be able to defend against this. This is not good. Vulture's going to have to be pulled back up here. The SCV is getting pulled off the mineral line at the natural now. And it looks like they're going to be pulled to try to defend here. We've got 1 tank on the battlefield right now. And SCV is starting to drop like crazy. Azhi was able to outproduce, though, on SCV. Still up 2 so far, even though the SCVs have died and are now assaulting the Dragoons, who have stepped through and are likely going to get this tank killed. Tank goes down. Down to just 2 Dragoons now, and it's up to the SCVs to defend for now, while the Vulture tries to lay down mines in the back. Okay, another tank on the battlefield. Finally down SCVs. Scratch that. Right back up to square one. Their Dragoons just kind of running free in the base right now. The tank's... Azhi trying to micro the tank right now, but it gets knocked out. 2 Dragoons left right here. And earob may have been able to make this an early game here if he pulled these Dragoons here to help attack. Looks like Azhi going to be trying a small counteroffensive with the 2 Vultures, but they're definitely going to run into their Dragoons. Oh, they do not. They slip by. And a lot of the micro going to be going over here to this defense right now. There we go. Okay. Mines able to finally clean that up with another tank. Took about 3 tanks to go through right there and a lot of mines. Here we go. Vulture's getting into the natural right now, though, while the army's across the battlefield. Going to be causing all these probes to get pulled off the mineral line. Once again, a lot of wasted mining time here. 2 Dragoons here, though. They will clean this up eventually, but it's a matter of wasted mining time. And how many kills are these Vultures going to get here before it goes down? 2 Dragoons right now on the natural. Going after the tank. The Vulture does get killed. Both players right now really harassing each other, and the naturals not getting a whole lot of mining done on either side of the battlefield right now. And I don't know how Azhi's keeping up with this right now. This is crazy. If this were me, I would have been dead 5 minutes ago. Okay, probes coming back into the natural now. I'm curious if we're going to see earob try to put down a forge for a photon cannon. Based off what I've seen so far, I don't think so. We haven't seen the forge yet. We're probably not going to. And instead, earob going right for the Reaver play. Gets the shuttle out. And air weapons being researched right now. That's suspicious. I wonder if we're going to see scouts or possibly even carriers. The forge, no forge tells me we're not going ground here. Otherwise, you would like to see the upgrade started by now. We already have Azhi's tier 1 of upgraded vehicle weapons just about done at this time. And so, if earob was looking to do a ground army, I would have suspected to see the forge already, with the ground weapons upgrade already on the way. So, earob, it appears as though earob is going to go for some type of airplay here, which we have to assume is going to be carriers. We don't really see... Oh my gosh, 2 tanks get taken out by 1 scarab there. That was nasty. Don't really see scouts get used that often. And now the Scarab trying to take shots at the SCVs. The Scarabs do get... the Reaver trying to take shots, sorry. Scarabs do get hung up there, though, and they are doing a lot of damage to these tanks right now. Man, 1 more Dragoon shot, and that tank would have also been done for. earob so far doing a good job. A little hang up there. earob so far doing a good job of keeping Azhi on this side of the battlefield. keeping them pinned in for the most part. So far, Azhi's been able to slip out a couple vultures here and there, but mainly the fight has been on Azhi's ground. And you can see the Terran building just on fire right now. They're not to burning just yet, so it doesn't appear as if Azhi's really too worried about them just yet. More focused on repairing the tanks. We do have the Observer hanging out here, keeping an eye on what's happening right now. Now siege mode done for Azhi. This is going to allow him to break some of this pressure and breathe for a minute. Once these siege tanks start coming out and they get sieged up like that, they really start doing a lot of damage to the Dragoons here. A little bit of a misplay there on the Observer. It does get into the missile turret range, gets shot down, unfortunately. earob now, though, on 3 bases. I am surprised to see earob take this third rather than going up here to the top. I do think that this is probably going to be, yeah, definitely airplay. Definitely going to be the carriers. So I am kind of surprised to see earob take the mineral-only third right here instead of the 4th up here on the top that has the gas available. earob down to 420 after spending a whole bunch on the carriers right here, but there are a lot of upgrades that you can do when you go carriers. For example, getting more of the ships you can upgrade from the fleet beacon right here. We'd also want to see air weapons being researched again. We don't see any like level 2 on the way yet, or even vehicle or aircraft plating, aircraft armor, if you will. That's not being researched either just yet. Instead, okay, there we go. Carrier capacity, +4 max interceptors. And let's take a look and see what Azhi's got going on here. Looks like it's going to be a typical mech build here. This is pretty standard, what you'd see from a Terran player versus Protoss. You try to go for a good amount of siege tanks. Missing a little bit of vultures right here. Typically, you shield the siege tanks, keep with the vultures, kind of keep the Dragoons at bay while the tanks are able to take shots. This is pretty common to mix in a few Goliaths like this into the comp here, just to kind of help against any type of aircraft that might show up. And it looks like this carrier play is actually going to have an advantage, at least in the beginning, because there's not really a whole lot of the Goliaths at this time. Only 2 or 3, make that 4, yeah. 4 Goliaths, and I do want to see where the scan goes down at. Okay, so a scan goes down. Oh my gosh, what timing on that. If Azhi sees that, a scan goes down right in the main of earob and actually catches the carriers as they're leaving the main base, and immediately Azhi throws up 6 Goliaths. So that's incredible timing right there. I wonder if we're going to have to see if it's going to be quick enough, though, to respond here from earob's. Oh my gosh, that was just brutal. 3 vultures just dropped from 1 scarab shot from a reaver at one time there. The carriers are already on the battlefield. They do have to build up their interceptors, though. So some amount of the Goliaths will get done before the carriers start making their way across the battlefield. It's just going to be a matter of... Man, that Zealot sure ate a lot of mines there. It's going to be a matter of how many Goliaths are able to get completed before these carriers start making their way across the area. And yes, sir, Azhi just keeping up the production right now. Going to be looking for the carriers, I would assume. I must have missed that scan. I'm not sure where that scan went down. Okay, here we go. Let's see if we can catch this one. Okay. Scanning the top of the ridge right here to see what's waiting. Just a bunch of Dragoons. The Vultures end up getting cleaned up by the Reaver and a Dragoon up here. Reaver got 5 kills. Must have taken out all those by themselves. But here come the carriers. Pretty good amount of Goliaths mixed in the comp now. We can see, typically, we would see more Vultures here than we do Goliaths. But a good, really good response right there from Azhi. And was able to pump out so many Goliaths. Unfortunately, what this is going to mean is, this is going to mean the tanks are going to end up taking a lot more damage than what you would typically see them taking here. And we see already down to just 3 tanks here. The Goliaths tend to get caught up, like doing this right here, what we're looking at, where they take a lot of shots at the interceptors, they're doing their thing, and that kind of opens the door for the Dragoons to move in and start taking out the tanks. When you don't, you sacrifice the Vultures, which are the meat shield, or well, mech shield, I guess, for the tanks. You sacrifice the vultures in place of the Goliaths, and because of that, your tank's going to start getting hammered away at here. Another scan going down. I'm trying to keep an eye on these carriers to see where they're going. Oh, okay. We have mines up there. I was wondering what the blue was on the radar up there in the top left. Or a mini-map. Whatever. Okay. Azhi looks like he's going to be able to take out this third base now. Denying the third. The fourth still not up and going yet. There's mines up there keeping them at bay. Keeping the probes at bay. Now, this is getting a little out of hand, though, with these carriers. Up to 8 carriers now. And here we go. earob going to be pushing for the engagement right now. Carriers taking a lot of punishment from the Goliaths. Dragoons going to be moving up. This is how you try to handle this composition right here with carriers and Dragoons. Start working towards the ground units. Distract the Goliaths with the carriers. And you can see this is exactly what the Protoss wants here. Distract with the carriers, get the Goliaths away, and move the Dragoons in, able to take out the Vultures and the tanks. There's not much left there on the ground. And now that that is out of the way, these Dragoons are going to start stepping up and taking out these Goliaths for free, who are busy trying to shoot down interceptors from the carriers. Azhi's economy looking pretty strong right now, though. Up 20 workers right now, 61 to 41. Azhi going to a 4th base now, completely mined out. And then in the main, has a 4th base up and running, pretty healthy. 3rd base up and running, pretty healthy. Natural's going strong too, and even already has a CC at the 5th base here as well. A lot of scans going down right now. Keeping an eye on earob and what they're up to. What we don't see a lot of, army from Azhi at this time, and that worries me. I do see there are quite a bit of Goliaths here. Yes, I do see that. However, that is all there is, and you need more than just Goliaths to deal with this. We're going to have to see how this one plays out right now. This can be a little misleading because while Azhi's economy is looking really good, they have 60 workers to 37 earob. What that means is 60 of those workers are taken out of the max population of Azhi Dahaki. So he's looking, or they, I don't know if it's a guy or girl, they're looking at about a 60 population army right now. Okay. And apparently that's GG. What I was going to say is that's about a 60 population army versus a 38 worker count for earob right now, which leaves them with like 110 roughly. So a 60 to 110 population army. And apparently this replay gets cut short. I'm going to go ahead and guess here that earob takes the W here. Azhi really doesn't have a lot left other than this mix of army right here. And I think the carriers win this here. All in all, though, that's strange. That's never happened to me before. We're just going to go ahead and move on, though. So I'm going to go ahead and call it. Game 1's going to go to earob here. Just strictly off the army value. And we're going to move on. We're going to move on to Game 2. No GGs. So weird. No GGs. Game just up and quit. Yeah, whatever. Okay, moving on. Let's get into match number 2. Okay. Let's get set up here. Nope, not that one. There we go. That's the right tooltip. Okay, so weird ending right there on match number 1. This next match is going to be taking place on Polypoid. I will go ahead and take a preview, an overall look at this one, because this one we don't see a whole lot. It is in the map pool, but this map doesn't get chosen a lot, really. So, let's ally colors here. There we go. Red and blue are a lot easier to look at than whatever random colors the game decides to give us. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it goes double yellow, but yeah, we'll see. Anyway, spawn locations in each corner here of the map. And as you can tell, Azhi going to be spawning down here in the bottom left, and earob going to be spawning up here in the top left. Nothing special really about these maps in particular. You've just got naturals down the ramp outside the main here. Exposed third, which is a mineral only. Pretty common on these maps that we see in this tournament. 2 ramps accessing the middle fourth base here between the spawn locations of each player. You would see the fourth out here. Basically one in the kind of center-ish border on each side here. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this map. Nothing really special. If you're curious, here's kind of what the middle looks like. Not really a whole lot of high ground other than the very thin spots right here connected to the mineral-only bases. Other than that, just flat ground, one little puddle right here in the middle. All right. And it looks like earob going to be open up with the 12 Nexus again. Pretty standard openings here. You know what? While everybody is doing this and getting going with their builds, let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket. Haven't done this one for a minute. So here we are in the losers round 9. Now, don't let it fool you. Just because I say the losers round does not mean these players are losers. This is actually the top 3 players in the second paid tournament. So we have earob, Azhi to Hockey, and Wolfix. The winner of this one going to be advancing on. The loser is done. And that's it. Winner go home. All right. Looks like the SCB of Azhi getting in the base here. Main going to be scouting out the double gate, the cybernetics core, and the 12 Nexus. That's just going to be getting done right about now. Very similar openings right here from both players. I didn't see the factory timing on this one, but we're going to assume it was roughly on time, just because it's just about done at this point. So no shenanigans early on here from either player. Could be playing straight through. We should get into the mid to late game here. Okay, first zealot leaving the base here. Going to be walking out here and standing just outside the pylon here, I would assume. First Dragoon gets started. The other Vultures just about done here. So both players going for identical builds here, starting out so far in this match. Machine shop going to be added on here. We will likely see the tank being constructed immediately. And this time, here's something a little different. Azhi decided to throw down the safety bunker just outside the natural here. Two zealots were created here. We got Dragoon attack range being researched here. This is typically the phase in the game where you would see a couple Dragoons walk down here. They're going to check out the bunker, see it, they're going to wait, they're going to start taking shots at the bunker once Dragoon attack range gets done. A little bit of harassment from the Protoss player. Don't want to do that. Don't walk them all the way down in there. SCV transfer here for Azhi. And it looks like the tank's going to be going and going to be taking mines first instead of vulture speed. Interesting choice. Robotics facility. Looks like we're going to be working our way to the Reaver again, if I had to just take a guess here for earob. What are you doing here, Kakaroo? You're not welcome here. Get out of here. Let's see what it's going to be. Okay, vulture speed. So no siege mode. Instead, going to be going for vulture speed. Looks like Azhi is going to be trying to lay out some mines here is what my guess is. We do see a couple going down here, but with vulture speed being researched like that, I do think Azhi's probably going to try to get a little bit more of a presence built up with mines, using that vulture speed to their advantage, able to get along the battlefield a bit more. And I am expecting to see Azhi scout a bit more with these. It's got the siege tank blocking the ramp here into the main. Pretty smart choice here. Observatory should see the robotics facility up next here for earob. Likely going to start an observer first. Make that 2. Okay. And if you didn't catch it just now, it looks like Azhi built the eBay and is going to be floating it up here. Here it is. To the top. Keep vision just above the natural right there. This particular spawn location is very susceptible to being harassed from the air. Luckily, that's more of a Zerg Muta type thing. In this particular case, I would be more concerned about shuttle reaver drops here. Onto the SCVs. And it looks like earob did walk up onto this 4th base here and trigger those mines, which is why we see this zealot down that low, and why we also saw Azhi move the vultures up like that to check that out and see what exactly was going on. Here we have the observer. Gonna be flying down here, and is the missile turret gonna see it? It does not see it. That is so super close. Yeah, Vulture's not gonna be getting anywhere here. Taking a peek, though, all the same. Just trying to check it out and see what's going on here. And Azhi does a great job, actually. Slips in and snipes the probe out there that was trying to go for the 3rd expansion there. And gets shot out by the Vultures. 2 kills on that Vulture and 0 on that one. Oh my gosh. These Vultures doing work out here right now. Kills a Dragoon with one of the mines they laid down earlier. But the 3rd is going to come online. Not after a couple probes die for it, though. And is this the same observer? Yes, it is. Okay. So here I'm trying to get a little more intel here on what's going on. And the Comstat station just done. Gonna be scanning the main here. Yep, and there it goes. No Stargates just yet. Instead, we have 4 gateways here. And they're Dragoons trying to clear out the minefield down here. That's what we hear being shot at right now. And this surprises me. I don't see the forge just yet. Instead, we see the citadel of a dude being thrown down, which makes me wonder if earob's going to try to go for some DTs here. We'll have to see if the Templar Archives comes online after the citadel gets done here. Alright, some siege tanks getting set up on this high ground here. Gonna be spotted by the observer. And this is more the combo that we would expect to see. We didn't see any starports down. Well, I say a starport because that's what I expect it to be with a Terran. I don't remember what it's called off the top of my head right now for the Protoss. I know, I'm a failure. Here we go. Templar Archives. Gonna be DTs. Stargate. That's it. I knew it was gonna bother me until I could remember it. So that's what we see Azhi scanning some more to check for the Stargates. No Stargates, so no carriers this particular match. Instead, definitely looks like it's going to be a ground army right here. And I still don't see... What bothers me is if it's going to be ground, you've got to get your research going at some point. We still don't see the forge up just yet. We've got Zealot legs being researched right now. Vehicle weapons also being researched. Azhi going to be taking a 3rd at this time. earob moving on to a 4th. And I'm just looking around to see if I can find... Okay, here we go. Here's the shuttles. Those are not Dark Templars. Those are just Zealots inside that shuttle right there. So why Templar Archives? For High Templars. That's why. Okay. No DTs. Going to be getting High Templars instead. Okay. And I suppose I have seen this tactic before. Once before in this tournament. And it went okay-ish. Not the best in the world, but okay. High Templar Storm, way more effective against the Hydralisks from the Zerg than against Mech here, but it can work. It can work. And here, I just missed this shuttle drop here into the natural. We see 2 Zealots already killed at this point. There were 4 in that shuttle originally. Does get cleaned up, though. Not really a whole lot of damage done there overall. Azhi's still ahead on worker count by 1, even after the losses there. But, all in all, you gotta do something. You can't just sit back and not be aggressive at all, or otherwise, you will never win. So, good to see earob at least trying something here. Both players pretty content to just let each other be so far. Haven't really had a whole lot of aggression this match just yet, other than the Zealot drop and the earlier Vulture harassment. 12.5 minutes in here, and we're just now kind of seeing some armies moving across the battlefield a little bit. earob just coming down with a lot of Dragoons here. Gonna be trying to check things out. It is, I gotta say, this is very dangerous to do this without an observer here, because at any time these Dragoons could walk right into a minefield, which is exactly what they're about to do here. Okay, here we go. Observer finally coming down here. Luckily, the Dragoons were able to take out these mines, and I don't know if one of these are going to land or not. The Observer does get down here in time, though. That could have gone way south much faster there. And a couple of these Dragoons get caught out, not on a hold order here. Oh my gosh, that's not what you want to see happen right there, though. Their own mines get exploded right there. Massive storm right there on the SCVs. I didn't catch it in time, but I sure heard them dying very quickly. And even after that, Azhi's still only down to 3 workers right now. If there's one thing to say about Azhi, they are good about creating workers. There is no doubt about that. Looks like this game is very much shaping up to just be a 200-200 brawl in the end. earob at 180 right now, Azhi at 170. Only 20 and 30 population to go. And we really haven't seen much conflict just yet from either player. Not a lot of Goliaths on the battlefield. There are just a few. Looks like just 3. And here we should see a little bit of an engagement right here. This is pretty standard move right here from the Terran. You get the Vultures out in front like this to shield the tanks. Siege some up and keep moving. One storm goes down. Only catches 1 tank though. 1 more siege tank for 1 more storm. There we go. That storm getting a little bit more work done there. So you can, if you can kind of see what I'm talking about with the storms being less effective here. Only 1 storm out of about 6 or 7 right there targeted more than 1 tank. So all in all, really not getting a whole lot done. High Templars trying to be rushed down in here to this base. Does get denied, though. And it looks like earob took the... Well, I should say, Azhi got the better of that engagement. Still at 161. So only dropped about 9 population or so, whereas earob dropped about 20-something in that particular trade. Earob was sitting at 180 to 170s Azhi. And finally, we have research on the way here for earob. Looks like that's going to be ground weapons 2 and then armor 1. Let's take a look and see. No vehicle plating, but level 2 weapons, vehicle weapons already researched here from Azhi. Armor plating just about done here. So these vehicles going to be on 2-1. 2 weapons, 1 armor. Anytime now. There we have it. 2-1 on the vehicles right now. And still 1-0 for earob. So earob a little bit behind on the tech right now. Well, the research, I should say. That's a mouthful. Try saying that fast. Azhi looking to be in pretty good shape here, all in all. I'm sure the main's mined out at this point. Very close. Not quite, but very close. 4 little mineral patches left. Both players with a lot of money in the bank right now. Over just about 3,000 minerals in the bank for both players. Here we go. Might see a big of an engagement here. A lot of zealots and the shuttles right here. 4 high templars gonna get denied. All 3 shuttles get denied right there. And that is why it's good to have some Goliaths mixed in this comp. And now, Azhi going to be starting to work their way across the battlefield at 200 pop now. Very similar army sizes. We've got 77 workers to 79 workers, 198 to 183. So very similar in worker size and army count here. So this one's going to come down to better micro, I think, in the end here. This doesn't look like that big of a Protoss army compared to what Azhi has moving across the battlefield. I'm looking at the Protoss army and I'm thinking, where is this army? Where is the population at in this army? There are quite a few zealots here that if they were to get on top of these tanks, they could do damage. All right, here we go. earob going to be trying to push in now. Zealots dropping like flies, though. Down to just 2 right now. A storm gets thrown down. Going to be able to take out 1 Goliath, it looked like, and that was it. A lot of scans being thrown down right there. If you're wondering how they were able to see those observers, Azhi already had scanned that particular area, and the observers just happened to fly through there. And now, Azhi going to be putting on the pressure here. We've got the Arbiter trying to shelter some Dragoons right now. The Arbiter's only going to go so far, though. Looks like Azhi's down to just 1 Goliath. We've got 2 more being constructed right now. So not really anything to defend against the air here. But all in all, I don't think it's going to matter a whole lot. The Arbiter just doesn't deal a whole lot of damage. You can see it just has this 1 attack right here. The Phase Disruptor Cannon, 10 damage per shot. And here we go. Here comes the engagement. Decent storm right there got thrown down, but I think it's going to be Azhi with the advantage right here. These tanks not set up in siege mode, so they're going to be able to duck out of that storm. Only minimal damage there. And the storm not even... One storm not even going to be enough to kill a single siege tank. And Azhi on 3-1 now. Each one of these cannon shots are dealing 85 damage. earob trying to drop the High Templars on top of the weakened tanks right there to cause the tanks to friendly fire themselves down. Was able to get 1 tank that way. But now the minerals starting to look a little thin here. Out at the natural. Going to be out at the main very soon. So it looks like earob going to be on 3 bases. 1 not being mined from at all just yet. So mining on 2 healthy bases currently. This exposed third got knocked down. 57 workers to 71 Aussies. And it does not look like Azhi's going to be slowing down anytime soon. Looks like earob very committed to this shuttle play here. Trying to just get the shuttles down in here into the main to mess things up. The Goliaths, though, get spawned in right on time here and are going to be able to clean this up. No problem. I'm not sure if I like the tactic here of committing to the shuttle play like this. It didn't work the first couple times, and there we go. That's what we want to see right there. The Arbiter able to walk up in here and stasis a lot of these tanks right here. Might have wanted to try that a little bit earlier in this engagement. If you can get back here and freeze up the tank line, that becomes a lot more manageable for the Dragoons to come in and start taking out the Vultures and stuff. Unfortunately, I think that was just a little too late in that particular case. A lot of Vultures out here on the battlefield now. They're going to be able to screen for a lot of these tanks. Laying out, you can see them laying out mines right now. Spreading around, doing their thing, trying to stall until these tanks come out of stasis right here. And we will see more reinforcements coming up this way. earob sticking to this shuttle play right here. Going to be coming down here. Looks like going to be trying to hit this particular engagement right down here. We'll try to jump to that real quick if we need to. 151 to 183 right now in population. Azhi very aware of the shuttle play by now. Able to dodge. Only loses like 1 SCV right there. Might lose this one here. Yep. That's just 2 SCVs though. Not too much lost right there. And now the tank's starting to shell out of this Protoss space out here on the far right 2 o'clock position. earob trying to enclose on the tanks right here, but the Dragoons try to move in, and they just get absolutely shelled down. The Zealots are going to be able to clean up these Vultures over here, though, harassing this base. A lot of mines still on the battlefield up here. Thankfully, earob was flying some observers through right there. That could have been catastrophic. Finally starting to see some action now, late in the game here. 23-minute mark, almost a 24-minute mark. And now, Azhi completely mined out now. At the main, at the natural, at the third. Mining from 2 bases right now. At the 6 and 5 o'clock positions. earob trying to mine from 3 right now. Just about out, though, on this 4th. Not a whole lot of minerals left there. So if Azhi is able to keep this pressure up on this particular side of the map right here, these are the only 2 healthy bases that earob has. So if Azhi's able to get up here and trap earob and cut off the reinforcements here and start shelling these bases down like they were just a minute ago before the Zealots came out and rushed those siege tanks, I think this is going to be game here in favor of Azhi. Scans the top of the ridge right there to make sure no Dragoons are waiting up there for him. Going to be catching a lot of probes right here out in a transfer. Able to take the high ground with the Vultures. That's going to be big right now as the siege tanks are going to get set up here and start taking shots here at the probes. I think that was a little bit of a miss micro right there. That tank kind of wandered into the range of these photon cannons. Just died for no reason, really. Okay. So, with the pressure on at the base, up the top, earob going to be trying to come down here and put on their own pressure down here against Azhi's 3rd. And even though Azhi's dragging down some reinforcements down here from the push that was going on in the 3 o'clock position, I don't think that they were entirely necessary. I do think that this probably would have held up there all the same. And yeah, earob sees the writing on the wall. GG. Match number 2. Going to Azhi. Da hockey. Good game right there from both players. I do think, though, for what it's worth, I don't think the shuttle play was working quite in earob's favor. I know once you get that far into the game, though, it's kind of hard to switch tech. So, like, you get a thing going and it either works or it doesn't. And unfortunately for earob in that particular match, just was not working out. But, all right. We got a game, though. 1-1. This one going to 3. Let's get into it. Okay, here we go. I did forget to give Azhi that victory, so I'm just going to update that real quick. There we go. Whoop, goodness. There we go. Sorry about that. That's probably a little jarring for everybody. Okay. So, 1-1 series. Best of 3 here. So, whoever wins this one, this is win or go home right here. Whoever wins this one, going to be advancing, and whoever loses, done. This particular map, Neo-Sylphid, this is a 3-player map, and you can see earob spawning down here in the bottom left, at kind of the 7 or 8 o'clock position. Azhi getting the 12 o'clock spawn here in the top center, and this would be the other spawn down here in the bottom right here, at what you might be like the 4 or 5 o'clock position here. Nothing too particularly crazy about this map, other than the fact that as far as exposed third bases go, these probably win first place. There are 2 ramps. They're kind of hard to see, honestly. There are 2 ramps up onto these raised platforms. There's one right here, and the other one right here. And anytime I've ever seen anybody go for these third bases, this third base gets absolutely demolished. It does have the gas at the third, which is kind of unusual. The mineral only is kind of tucked in over here on the sides for both players. So it does have the gas right there, which makes it a tempting target to try to pick up. But man, everyone gets obliterated when they do. The safer option that I typically see players go for are these bases that are tucked in here with only 1 ramp. So for earob, this would be the one that we would likely see earob go to for a safe third. And for Azhi Dahaki, likely going to see this up here in the top. I've also seen players do proxy whatever, whether it be a proxy Rax or like a DT rush from the Protoss, and they use these particular bases up here to hide the structures or the tech from the other player, because as you can probably tell here, which I'll unreveal the map here, that particular pathing from the scouting, it doesn't get revealed, is what I'm trying to say. You can even see the probe here going up the ramp right here. So this particular area never gets scouted, and no matter what direction you send the scout to on any side of the map, never gets seen. So this is always a really good place to hide proxies or like tech rushes like the DT rush from the Protoss. Doesn't look like we're going to be seeing that though. Looks like we're going to be seeing a similar build here from Azhi. However, slight variation here from earob. Not going for 2-gate this time. Not a 12 Nexus either. Instead, we've got Dragoon research, Dragoon range already being researched. I've got 1 Dragoon on the battlefield already. 1 more in production. And the Nexus going down at 19. So it looks like it's going to be, essentially going to be a 20 Nexus. 19 Nexus, whatever. We'll have you. Machine shop getting built. We're going to see the siege tank come out. Probably going to be mines researched again first here for Azhi. And the Dragoon does a pretty good job here of walking back the army here so the probe can try to get in here. But I don't know if Azhi was wise to that or if that was just more luck on their part, but they were able to pull back the Vulture, which was able to deny the probe scout there. So Vulture does get the probe kill. And I have got to get a drink because these matches are going a little bit longer. Excuse me, just one moment. Good water. Water is your friend when you have to talk for a long time. Okay. Does look like it is going to be spider mines here. And with the Dragoon attack range, this is the Dragoon harassment that I was talking about in match number 2 that we see. the Marines not able to shoot this far once the Dragoons get this. And the reason that you see this typically is because it's kind of just draining on the Terran's eco. You have to sit here and you have to repair the stupid bunker, which saps away slowly at your mineral count. And you also have to park, as you can see, at least 2 SCVs. Typically, if you're trying to keep it up and going, it's typically 1 SCV per Dragoon, unless the Dragoon count gets high enough where they can essentially like 2-shot the bunker before the SCVs can repair it fast enough. But 2 to 2 is going to get the job done. And eventually, once the siege tank gets here, that's the Protoss's sign to go ahead and back up, because the siege tank can sit there and kill the Dragoons. Do the same thing that they were doing. So, a little bit of back and forth right there. Early harassment. Robotics facility already done here and pumping out observers. Looks like earob. Reason we see this is because we're trying to protect against vultures rushing right down onto the mineral line here. That's why we see this kind of the gateways and the pylons and stuff being stacked up that way. The Dragoons getting taken out by 2 tanks. And it's going to be a little bit of a move out right here from Azhi. This is not something to take lightly. 2 tanks, a Vulture, and 4 Marines this early on actually could get a little bit of work done. Especially if you run a couple SCVs with them. It's a hard call to make, but if Azhi was to pull a bunch of SCVs and run them with that comp right there, I do think Azhi actually probably could have ended the game right here. But it doesn't appear to be what's going to happen, and I don't blame them. That is a very, very risky move to do, by the way. If you're a Terran player, don't just do that. Don't just be like, oh, I'm going to take all my SCVs and go charge. Doesn't work. 9 times out of 10, doesn't work. You're going to get murdified. Alright. The observer ends up making its way into the main here. Barely. One more shot from the missile turret would have done it in. But it does sneak its way in here, though. Able to check it out, see what's going on. No big surprises. Going to be going for tech again from Azhi. Pretty standard build, up to 3 fact right now. Going to be getting a 4th one here pretty soon. 2 machine shops on them. earob taking a 3rd right now. Taking the dangerous 3rd at that. Starting to get some more gateways online. Still no forge just yet. I wouldn't expect to see one just yet. And it looks like Azhi going to be checking out this expansion up here. This is a good idea. This is where you would expect to see the expansion at. Goes and throws down a mine right there. Here we go with the shuttle play once again. However, with the observer that made its way in here, I think earob has a little bit of an idea as to where they might be able to drop this shuttle at. Maybe not, because they are flying it in right at a missile turret. I thought the observer may have seen that. Maybe it didn't, though. Clearly it did not. Alright, so the Reaver does end up landing. Does take down the missile turret. And it looks like the Reaver is going to get dropped in the back here. Let's see if it can get anything done. Takes out a couple SCVs. The Zealot also trying to... It's just running wild in the base here. Zealot gets shot down. All in all, I don't think Azhi's really too worried about this. We've got a lot of siege tanks already in the base right here. And so really, this Reaver is not going to get a whole lot more done before it gets shot down. Okay. So this is what I like to see. Now we've got the Forge online a lot earlier here in the game. I do wonder just how much the research from the last game favored Azhi. You can see Azhi was on 3-1 at the end of that game, and earob only on 1-1. Or, excuse me, 2-1. So Azhi with the slight advantage And with a lot of siege tanks that are able to throw out a lot of damage like that, the third +5 really comes in handy there. Siege tanks can really start chewing through their dragoons like that, especially with the splash damage. And it does look like earob has an observer just sitting on top of these tanks right now. So earob is definitely going to be wise to all of the maneuvering and positioning that the tanks are doing right now. And I don't think they were watching that. Otherwise, they wouldn't have taken the shot there from the Reaver. Okay, missile turret does get done, though. Both players going for the dangerous third right here. I guess at the higher level play, it's not as dangerous typically. But here we go. This is a lot more of the safer option here. With the shuttle being flown around left and right like crazy. Should be able to shuttle the probes over here, no problem. Gonna be blocking that off completely. Good thing they did, because here comes a vulture to try to come up here and deny this. A little too late though, Mr. Vulture. Can't get in there. And here we have the photon cannon gonna be thrown down behind the pylons to defend against this. I'm not sure. Typically when you see the vultures going crazy like this typically happens whenever you give like a move command or something to a unit and they can't complete their pathing, so they just kind of freak out. Oh my gosh. Azhi able to sneak the vulture up there and takes out the one probe that was in there trying to build stuff. Very sneaky vulture. Oh, and I missed the drop right here. Oh my goodness. How many kills do these guys have? Never gonna know. Had to have done pretty good there. I kind of want to back. I don't normally do this, but I want to back this one up a little bit if I can. Let's see. Which one is it? There it is. That's going to give you guys a little bit of an idea, I know, on the timing on this one. But I really want to see this. I backed up a little too far there. Oh, no, I didn't. This is not the same shuttle drop. Okay. I normally don't rewind like this. I think this is the first time I've ever actually done that live like this. Well, I say live. It's all good. It's all in the recording. I do this in one take, guys, if you didn't know. Okay, here we go. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so just a couple. The Zealots end up making it. Okay, so the Reavers get in here. And a lot of the SCVs... Okay, so a lot of the SCVs did end up making it out of here. Okay. It looked way worse. The aftermath looked way worse than what it actually was. Okay. So really, that didn't get a whole lot done. With the buildings on fire and, like, no SCVs there, I really wondered how many got destroyed. But really, it only looked like about 2 of them got shot down. And even with that, as we've come to find out about Azhi in this matchup, Azhi's very good at making workers. Up 7 already, and with probably, I would have guessed probably 2 killed. Still up, now 8. And for some reason, these Goliaths are shooting this missile turret down. Not sure about that. Might be in the way of something. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Looks like we have the Templar energy being researched, so gonna be going for some high Templars again. Sounded like tank shots landing on buildings to me. Strange. May have been Dragoons cleaning up mines. This little vulture right here is... Oh, he doesn't... Oh, here we go. Okay. So he does get taken out, but it is for a good cause, though. He does see the Dragoons. And that is a lot of vultures right here coming over here to harass this. This doesn't necessarily surprise me to see the bunker get destroyed like that. It ends up just getting in the way and acting like a choke point that you don't want when you're trying to get reinforcements out. So that doesn't necessarily surprise me to see Azhi shoot that down manually like that. Got a scan going down here. Let's see if we can catch where that went. Looks like it was on the natural right here. And the Vulture's going to be getting in here to do a lot of work here. Going to be getting a lot of probe kills. Oh, and I actually get tied up by the Zealots, though, and the Dragoons. So not a lot of worker kills in the end. 56. Make that 55 here. Okay, here we go. I was about to say I would look to see Azhi pull the Vultures down into the main here, and that's exactly what we have going on here. Leaves a couple to block the entranceway. Okay, here they come. So now we've got mines being laid down inside the main right now. That is bad for earob. You do not want your reinforcements walking out of the gateway and stepping on landmines. Not a good thing. The Vulture is just causing a lot of havoc right now inside the main here. And it looks like earob just willing to just let it be. earob's not pulling the army back here to clean these Vultures up. Looks like they're just going to be willing to let the reinforcements do it here. And it looks like it does eventually get cleaned up. But man, those Vultures sure did cause a lot of chaos right there. No doubt about that. We've got production going on here in the meantime for Azhi, who is just content again to power up in the background. $50 to 63 worker count right now, 174 to 189. So, and as far as army value goes, both the players are actually kind of similar in this regard. 126 army for earob right now, and a 130, let's say 136 for Azhi. Azhi about to reach max pop right now, 199 to 200. earob 190 to 200. Okay, here we go. A little bit of an engagement going on here in the middle field. The Dragoons trying to take the step back to stay out of the range of the tank fire, and the Zealots just getting absolutely hammered once again as they're trying to rush the tank line. But the Vulture's doing a good job keeping them off. And now earob backing up. A lot of mines here on the ground. And you have to be careful not... You really don't want to set up a whole lot of siege tanks on mines that you lay down like that. That can be a very dangerous thing to do. I think it does appear as though Azhi's going to be okay in this particular situation. And what we would kind of want to see here is a bit of a surround here from the Protoss player. Not able to get that, though. And it does not look like the Protoss army is going to get through these Vultures here and into the tanks. A lot of Vultures do die, but a vast majority of the Protoss are taken out from the tanks in the back there. Azhi doing a good job stutter stepping the tanks. You never want to just move all the tanks at one time. It's always a better idea to move some of them. That way you still have some set up in siege mode, still covering the other ones as they're moving and advancing. And so you kind of want to stagger their movement like that. And you do end up seeing like a line of the siege tanks form like this, which can be a bit of a disadvantage if they're rushed like that head on. Because then you're not, all your siege tanks are not shooting at the same time. They're staggered and they can just kind of get rolled on, just rolled right through. However, the engagement was already over, and so this particular scenario, that's where you want to start staggering your tanks like that and walking them up. And it does look like Azhi might be able to walk away with this one here. Not much of an army really left here from earob at this point. Going to be trying to drop Zealots down onto the top of the tanks right here. Throws down a storm. Not going to kill the tanks, though. And unfortunately, it just doesn't... It's just not enough Zealots, really, to have taken out the tanks. Then they are weakened, that's for sure. Damage was dealt to them. We see 2 of them in the red right now, 1 in the yellow, 3 still in the green. Make that 4 in the green. But it does look like Azhi is going to be able to start coming down here and start hammering away at some of these healthy mining bases. And it's going to be up to earob here to try to get down here and cause some havoc on these tank lines here. And with the siege tanks not set up in siege mode yet, you really don't want to just drop the zealots right on top of them. It's really, you're just throwing them away at that point. And I think these mines might end up landing on the dragoons here. Oh, just 1. Takes out 1. This is not going to be enough dragoons right here to stop this assault. So these bases definitely going to go down here. And there it is. The GGs from earob. Wow, okay. So Azhi going to be walking away with it here in game number 3. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Going to be a rematch here. Azhi Dahaki versus Wolfix in the grand finals of our second paid StarCraft Underground tournament. Can't wait to cast it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, check out the next one. If you want to become a member of the community, take part in one of these tournaments, or just hang out, whatever, join us in StarCraft Underground. Until then, take it easy.